of your favorite things about Delmarva might be the history. What do you think?
I agree with that 100%.
There's a lot of history around here. One of my favorite places to go, probably you guys as well, the Fort Miles Museum in Cape Henlopen State Park. And did you know we're celebrating and honoring some of that history this weekend? So our friend Jim Pierce with Fort Miles is here today. Jim, thanks for being here.
Hey, it's great to be here, and thank you.
Yeah, happy to have you. So we're talking Delaware Defense Day, you guys, on Saturday. This is such a big event people go to every year. Jim, tell us about it.
Well, it is a large event. It's a special event in that we bring in dozens of reenactors. They bring with them their equipment, vehicles, all kinds of Army equipment that was at Fort Miles during World War II. So and they bring a lot of, personal stories to the forefront as well. So, visitors can come in, interact with the reenactors, and then there's just a bunch of events during the day, artillery demonstrations. In 1945, a German submarine surrendered at Fort Miles, actually surrendered north of Fort Miles up in outside of Long Island, but there was no place to bring the submarine other than into Fort Miles. So it did its final surrender at Fort Miles, and we do a reenactment of the surrender ceremony with a German captain and the whole 9 yards of that. And that's fun. That's at 1 o'clock. The event, I guess we didn't mention, it actually runs from 10 to 4. There are lots of exhibits to see inside the museum. There's also what we call an orientation building that features Cold War exhibits. So we cover kind of the waterfront from the beginning of World War II, or at least when Fort Miles was constructed in the early 40s, up through the Cold War.
Wow, there's a lot going to be going on this day.
There will be a lot going on, yeah. We have in that same building I mentioned, we have a group called WW Tunes that they play on and off all day, so you can get some nice 40s vintage music and
that's a great name.
Dance if you want to.
Oh my gosh, WW Tunes, that's amazing. Is this a family-friendly event, Jim?
It is. Okay. It's very family-friendly. Inside the museum, there are some interactive exhibits that kids of all ages love to do, and it's very family friendly.
It's like a fun way to get a history lesson.
Exactly. I like that.
Right. Yeah, we try to make it fun and interesting, not too deep. Our sister organization, Fort Miles Historical Association, staffs the museum with docents. They're very knowledgeable. They'll tell you whatever you want to know. If you don't want to know anything and just read away, then they'll leave you alone. But if you go into the museum, you'll do a self-guided tour this time around. Usually we have formal tours, but because there's so many people, we do a self-guided one. And there is a $6 per person admission charge into the museum itself. Okay. But the event otherwise is free to the public.
Fantastic. Do you have like a favorite exhibit or it's a reenactment that's going to be going on this weekend?
My two favorites are the submarine reenactment that we talked about, and my favorite exhibit, actually, I want to thank Draper for participating in this. We have an exhibit that is the first bookend of World War II, which was the sinking of the USS Arizona at Pearl Harbor. Almost 1,200 lives lost in that. So it's a very meaningful event. We were able to procure what the Navy calls a relic from the Arizona, which is an 8-foot piece of steel that is on display, and there are monitors, kiosks that explain the story of the Arizona and Pearl Harbor generally. So that's a special exhibit, and before you get to that exhibit, as you're walking into the museum building, there is a 16-inch gun barrel, and that came off of the USS Missouri, and it was under that gun barrel that the Prime Minister of Japan walked and with his delegation to surrender to General MacArthur in Tokyo Harbor. So you have those two, and there was actually in another battery, there were two 16-inch guns at Fort Miles, in addition to the 12-inch guns that are in the museum building. So, you know, it all ties together.
Yeah. It does. Wow, a lot of incredible history. So for those who are ready to go, they are getting excited like we are. One more time, can you just say the day and the time?
Certainly. It's April 20th, this coming Saturday. Opens at 10 o'clock, closes at 4 o'clock. Visitors will be parking in the large beach lot and taking a shuttle bus over to Fort Miles.
Okay.
And the last bus leaves at 4:30.
Looking forward to it, Jim. Thank you so much for being here. Yes,
Thank
so
you.
excited.
Thank you both.
All right, yes, of course. Well, guys, bring the family, get excited. A lot of really rich history in our area. Right now, though, some delicious food is coming your way. Maybe even if you don't like your veggies, you don't like your greens, we're showing you a really yummy way to cook them when we get back.